And so I was invited to be a part of a think tank a few days ago. And it's a group of people, let's just say these people are some major influencers and just some brilliant people and movers and shakers, if you will, and people that are making a big impact on the world. And the topic was the effects on society, on mankind as a whole. Should we listen to it? What should we do about it? And what's really happening? And it was great because we had this conversation, some great things that came out. And just a few days later, my team said, Joseph, here's a great topic for you to talk about. Serendipitously, it came together. So that's what we're going to talk about here today. The effects of society on mankind. Is it good? Is it bad? Should we listen to it? What should we do about it that is coming in? And so grab a pad and paper because, as usual, I'm not only going to answer those questions and talk about those things and share with you some of the things that my mentors and the people that were on this group came up with and the things that we talked about, but I'm also going to give you something to do to help you mitigate the negative effects of society on you. And so to get started, as usual, let's kind of get a base level, an understanding of what society is, especially in this case right now. A society basically is just a group of people. I mean, it's in its simplest form, a group of people. I don't even know that you would want to put a number on it because that could be a group of people of, 50, 60, 100, 10,000, 10 million people, society. And society is just a group of people, if you will, in this case, a group of people that share similar beliefs, understandings, let's just say ethics, and even behaviors and ideals. And that keeps that society together because they are connected to each other. And just so you know, because I'm going to answer the question earlier, should we listen to society? Well, the answer is absolutely yes, because we're social people. We are designed to keep people around. As a matter of fact, that is one of your basic needs as a human being, is to keep people around because instinctively, as even a baby knows, that without other people, we would die. We need other people for our mental, our physical, our emotional needs. And as babies, we don't have that stuff, so we're taught to cry and to flirt and to do all the things to keep people around. And so we move towards people that are like us. And we are influenced by people that are like us and people that love us, initially. But if you look at society and the way that it has changed right now, and the reason we had this conversation, maybe the reason we're having this conversation right now, is things have radically changed over the last 3 decades. Radically. Now, they have been changing rapidly through time, but if you think about it, a society in the very beginning, and by the way, in the very beginning, let's just say in caveman times, there were clutches of people, clans of people, and there were groups of people, and they would keep together, and they would have these societies, and they'd have these beliefs, and they'd have these things that they would work together to keep themselves safe, to hunt, to protect themselves, and so on and so forth, and they needed each other. And then those grew into, let's just say, little villages. And then those villages grew into townships. And then those townships grew into cities and, states and countries and so on and so forth. To here we are right now. And there's societies all over the place. They're everywhere. They're all over the place. And it's changed, though, because right now, and it's changed over the last, like I said, the last 3 decades, just by virtue of probably the thing that you're watching me on right now. And that is smartphones and the internet and social media and so on and so forth. It is so easy to all of a sudden tap into another society's beliefs and their understandings and listen to them and learn about them at the snap of a finger, at the swipe of a finger. We can do that. And so the question is not should we listen to society, but what society should we listen to? And then what should we listen to about them? And what should we pay attention to? Now, you probably heard me talk about this before, and that is that the powers that are, if you will, don't necessarily have your best interest at heart. And it's not malicious, and this is not something that I'm saying as conspiratorial. It's just that other people have, let's just say, ulterior motives sometimes that don't necessarily serve you at best. And one of the examples that I use a lot, and that is, let's just say, the media. And I don't have to go into that. I'm not going to go deep into that because whichever media you choose is probably the one that you're going to be influenced by. We get to see snapshots of society doing this, and we get input. And our society's input becomes that screen. Our society's input comes because most of us, especially in these times that we've gone through now, we've been a couple years kind of in our houses, if you will, and kind of in a few years. And matter of fact, most people, if you look at, just don't take my word for it, just walk around. I'm in airports a lot. And it is amazing how many people, and it's not just in airports, you'll see it, have their head looking down at their phone. Rarely do you see people looking up and just kind of taking it in. They got their phone around them all the time, and it's so quick to that. People, my team was telling me today, statistically, the average American, I don't know about other countries, but the average American picks their phone up 96 times a day. Now remember, we talk about human physics. Human physics is whatever is repeated, you're going to get better and better at. It's going to become a habit with you. And we don't stand a chance of, we get addicted to that because it's instant entertainment. It is instant attention grabbing. But what I'm here to tell you is it is not always programmed and not always designed to serve you. It's designed to keep you watching that screen. And watching that screen is not where life is. Watching that screen is not where the activity is. Watching that screen is not going to get you wealthy. And wealthy to me means healthy, happy, and financially abundant. Watching that screen is going to get, it's the antithesis of that. You're not going to feel as good. And statistics have shown right now, especially with young girls, that too much screen time causes depression and self-loathing, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, and all of those things. And so, whether it is maliciously done or intentionally done, that is society. And that is the input that we're getting in. And our influence, again, that is our society used to be, our leaders and so on and so forth. Well, our leaders now are almost taking a second or a back seat to what you see on social media, what you see on television, what you see on the media there. That's what guides us nowadays. I'm old enough to remember when, back in the Vietnam War, when the very first war was televised. And it was so interesting because when it was one of the very first times in history that you look at, masses of society rose up against that war, especially in the United States. In the United States, people were protesting the war in a way that they never have been. Nowadays, when something happens on the news, on the media, societies get together from all over the place. People fly in from all over the places and they demonstrate and they get their opinions out about what they feel about something and protest and things like that. That is that influence. And so what do we do about it? What do we do about the negative influence of society on us? And again, society in this case is going to be wherever you get influence from, wherever you get your information from, wherever it comes in, whether it's the television, whether it's even another person. What do we do about it? And so my answer to that question is, that question of should we listen to society is not all of it, but yes, we should listen to some of it. For all the reasons that I said before. Because mankind was not meant to be alone. Mankind was not meant, that we're meant to be in societies together for all the reasons that I just said before. As human beings, what happens with most of us is that we start to realize that, I like being around people, but I like being around some people. I don't like being around other people. As a matter of fact, we need to be around people so much that we do some crazy stuff. The things I know I have. What have you done for love? That's society. The truth of the matter is, we use as a form of punishment for crimes and things like that. What do? We remove people from society. We isolate them. We put them somewhere where they don't have access to other societies. And that's the ultimate, I shouldn't say the ultimate, but that is painful for us. And our nervous system says, this isn't good. Let me avoid that. Now, all of that to say, let me answer the question. What do we do? What do we do? And these are what I call the 4 R's of social impact. What to do about it. And the first thing is to recognize whenever, and again, when you start to consume data or whatever, the first R is to recognize what you're doing. You're just taking in information. You are just downloading or uploading information. Just to recognize that and put yourself in that kind of mode. That, okay, I'm in a learning mode. And I'll teach you how to learn here in a moment. I'm in the learning mode. I'm in this mode right now. And put yourself in that frame that you are going to the next R, which is to respond and not react. So when you recognize that, wait a minute, okay, I'm just, I'm gonna take this in, because here's what happens. Most people, when they are allowing whatever, and again, I'm using just social media and your cell phone and all these things as just an example, but I don't care if it's somebody that's talking to you. Stop for a second. I always say chill first. Stop for a second and recognize that, wait a minute, okay, let me put myself in a learning mode. Let me put myself in a curious mode. Okay. And be open-minded, if you will, just for a moment. And then that allows you to respond and not react, because a reaction is, like you've heard me talk about this before, a reaction is a knee-jerk reaction. There's no thought. It's just you react to something, and oftentimes we react by getting our feelings hurt, or we react by getting scared, or we react by getting mad, or we react by getting hurt. Those are the negative sides of it. And by the way, I shouldn't say most, but a great deal of media is designed to do that, to keep you scared. Designed to keep you in that, what we call our sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight. And then we react. Well, wait a minute, I better do this. I better join this group here. I got to do this. I got to buy. We've all been that way before. I know I have, where I've been so excited about something, or so, I got to do this. It's urgent that I got to get this done, and we do it in the moment. But when we recognize, we go, okay, wait a minute, this is just input for a second. Let me just relax for a moment and take it in. And that way you get to respond. And the way that you want to respond is that you want to respond with curiosity. Is this true? What is this about? And I even want you to, and I encourage you to, have that kind of look on your face. Did you know, you may or may not know this, that when we have that physiology about us, that curiosity physiology, we actually learn more. And we actually, as we take it in, we go to that next R, which is reason. Reason. Reason means that in that moment, you get to ask the question, is this true? Why is this true? What can I do with it? What should I do with it? And that kind of reasoning, that's a response. Because oftentimes, and we've seen it go crazy. We've seen social media, we've seen people fly off the handle and do some crazy things, hurt each other and do things. That's how wars are started, when people don't step back and go, okay, well, wait a minute, that was somebody else's opinion. I don't have to take that opinion. And when you start to reason, then you get to also ask, is this something that I can use? Is there any value in this that I'm taking in right now? And you got to ask these questions, because the human brain is designed to answer questions. That's all you do all day long, is ask and answer questions. So when you ask the question, is this something of value and can I use it? Then you're going to go say yes or no. Or you're going to say, is this a bunch of crap, or is this just somebody else's opinion? If the answer is yes, then you say, okay, well, here's how I can do it. Here's what I would do. And and you start to think of plans and to do that. If not, you go to the last R. And this is critical. Remove it. Get it out of there. Get it out of there. Get it out of your consciousness. Get it out of your life. And I know that sounds harsh, but it is critically important. And again, I'm not going to name any social media or any television programs or news outlets by name, but I am going to say that as you watch it, somebody asked me the other day, they go, Joseph, well, don't you watch any television? Don't you watch any news? How do you keep up on stuff? Of course I do. But I mitigate it. I watch maybe 15 minutes of as a matter of fact, I spread it out. I go around 15 minutes of news and societal input, if you will, every 4 or 5 days, 3, 4, 5 days. And what you recognize is that the way society is, the way society goes, the way that it's being reported, the way that we're being influenced it's the same thing over and over and over again. In 15 minutes, you can get all the news that you need. If you do this process, recognize first, and then respond, and then reason, then it allows you to go, that's a bunch of crap, I don't need that. And the way that I remove it is to remove all of the other days. I do those 15 minutes. If something urgent is going to happen, I'll hear about it. You'll know about it when it does. And then when it does, then you can spend your time there, the same thing, going through the process every time. Recognize, respond, reason, and go, is this true? Is this not? What can I do with it? What should I do with it? And remove it if it doesn't work. If it does work for you, then that's the third R within reason. You go, okay, well, what can I do? How can I use this? But you don't want it to stay around in your brain as like something that's rotting rotting your unconscious mind and rotting us as human beings, that all that negative stuff is sticking around out there. So, said differently, should you listen to society? The answer is yes, but you should choose what to listen to. You're smart enough to figure out what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's bad. You know, society, things have changed. We are in this day and age where anything is possible, but most people don't do what is possible. Most people in their lives, they live their lives in doubt and so on and so forth, and we're encouraged to be that way. You're not encouraged to step up and do something different and free thinking and things like that. You're encouraged to kind of conform to what's there. You know, here's an example. When I say society, again, you know, one of my mentors always taught me, if you live like the masses, then you'll die like the masses. I didn't really like that, but here's what he meant. And what he meant was, if you live and you do the things that the masses do, then you're going to be just like the masses. You may suffer from the same types of diseases, the same types of let's just say, our economic standings and things like that. And I took a look at it, and this was many, many years ago when I first learned this, and I thought about because I was raised, my father was very health conscious, and my mom was as well, and we were raised to kind of take care of ourselves and watch what we eat and so on and so forth. And there was a movie that came out a few years ago. As a matter of fact, this movie actually won an Academy Award for documentaries. And the movie was called Super Size Me by a guy, I think his last name was Sperling. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because that society teaches us how to eat. The commercials that you watch, the influences that we have taught us that type of food, I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but that particular type of food is good for you, and it's cheap, and it's nutritious and all those things. And the truth of the matter is if you watch the movie, the guy got sick. He just ate that food consistently, and he got sick. He got tired. He gained a bunch of weight, but we're taught that this is the way that things are going. And that's just one example. That's just one, and it's going on all over the place. I think I said this earlier that I was hired to work with some major media companies and some television companies and things like that, and I got to kind of pull the curtain back and look at what's really going on in the back there, and it would surprise you. Matter of fact, it would scare you if it was back there. So I'm here to tell you right now that the truth of the matter is that you have a choice. And your choice is to what you're going to allow to come into your eyes and your ears and your heart. You have a choice. And as ye seek, not only shall ye find, but as ye seek, so shall it find you. You're going to find that we got this thing called our reticular activating system. The more we look for something, the more we'll find more of it. Stuff is going to start to show up to support a good, healthy, happy, and let's just say wealthy attitude and lifestyle. Lastly, I'll say this. I always say lastly, but it's never lastly, is this. What's really, really important is that, you know, when you're in those 4 R's mode that I talked about, allow yourself to think about other people in terms of your compassion for other people, how this is affecting other people as well. If you got somebody on some sort of social media or news that's wagging their finger and saying, these people are bad and these people are bad and so on and so forth, just look at their face, okay? And just recognize that, and again, go through these R's and say, well, you know, maybe those people are bad, but let me make that decision, not based on this person's decision. Have compassion for other people as well. Because in terms of, let's just say, racial issues and even political issues and even religious issues and so on and so forth, sometimes it's really important to recognize that we all got to live on this planet together. And the more compassion we have for each other, the better we're going to live. And that is the way, to me, the way society is going to work. And there are plenty of great, let's just say, things in society that are great feedback that's going to help you, that's going to serve you. Put yourself in those types of situations. Learn from people more. And even what we're doing here right now. And I appreciate your time, your trust, and really your energy in allowing me to share these things with you. And so I have always I want to share a free gift with you. There's a book. You can click on the link that's down here, somewhere around here, if you will. And it's a book called Dare to Be Magnificent. And in it, it's not, again, I always say this, it's not just knowledge in there. There's things that you can do to help you become more wealthy, healthy, happy, and financially abundant. So click on the link, grab the book for you. It's free of charge. It's my gift to you. You're going to absolutely love it. It's not just me, my opinion, but some great other people's opinion as well, because I've had some great mentors, teachers, and coaches as well. And as always, like, subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you get notified when we have more videos. And then lastly, I will say that, remember, life is exactly what you dare to make it, and fortune favors the bold. And the trick to life is to boldly step up and dare to make your life magnificent. I'm Joseph McClendon III. I've been the best host ever, and I look forward to seeing you at the top.